from the Delhi studios of Republic TV, it's time for the debate.
Debate at 10, powered by RP Sanjeev Goenka Group.
Welcome back. An NCERT history textbook has claimed Mughal emperors paid to rebuild and maintain temples. The textbook Themes of History claims Shah Jahan Aurangzeb issued grants for the maintenance of places of worship. Now, the NCERT's response to an RTI application has revealed there is no proof to back this claim. The excerpt from this chapter has reignited the history distortion debate.
An excerpt from an NCERT history textbook has triggered outrage over a claim that Mughal rulers helped build and maintain temples. The textbook, Themes of Indian History, for students of class 12 reads, all Mughal emperors gave grants to support the building and maintenance of places of worship. Even when temples were destroyed during war, grants were later issued for their repair, as we know from the reigns of Shah Jahan and Aurangzeb. However, during the reign of the latter, the jizya was reimposed on non-Muslim subjects. An RTI application sought the source of this claim in the textbook, and the response from NCERT has revealed shocking details. NCERT says it has no information available on the files of its department.
NCERT is a part of a government setup, so I believe there should be some accountability. How can you just say that we don't have any information to substantiate a fact, and still you insert that fact?
NCERT के माध्यम से जो RTI लगाई गई थी, उससे ये साफ जाहिर होता है कि 1947 से लेकर के जिस प्रकार की हिस्ट्री हमें पढ़ाई जानी चाहिए थी, उसमें किसी ना किसी प्रकार से एक साजिश हुई है। किसी विशेष समाज को प्राथमिकता देकर के तो इस इतिहास को बदला गया है।
हिंदुओं के मंदिरों को तोड़ने के बाद उनको रिपेयर करने के लिए मुगलों द्वारा धन दिया गया, राशि दी गई। ये सूडो सेकुलरिस्ट जो हिस्टोरियंस हैं, चाहे वो लेफ्टिस्ट है या कांग्रेस सोच के जो हिस्टोरियंस हैं, उनकी ये मनगढ़ंत कहानी है। ऐसा कोई एविडेंस मिलता नहीं है।
With NCERT having no proof of Shah Jahan and Aurangzeb paying for the maintenance of places of worship 16 years after Themes of History was first published, is it time to rewrite our history books? Let's debate.
Joining us on debate number 2 are Sanju Verma, national spokesperson of the BJP, Anand Ranganathan, author and scientist live from Delhi, Professor Bharat Gupta, who's an executive member and trustee of IGNCA or the Indira Gandhi National Center for Arts, Dr. Indu Vishwanathan, who's an educationist, joining us live from New York this evening, Professor D.K. Giri, political commentator, Atikur Rahman, Islamic scholar, Syed Islam, political analyst, leans towards the JDS, and Chetan Singh, political analyst and lawyer. I'd like to start with Anand Ranganathan and Professor D.K. Giri. To just put this entire story into perspective, Anand, who distorted history when today an RTI reveals that the NCERT has no evidence to prove that Mughal emperors had rebuilt temples destroyed in wars? But there is a page in the class 12 book that says even when temples were destroyed during wars, grants were later issued for their repair, as we know from the reigns of Shah Jahan and Aurangzeb. Is there a pattern to such claims being made, Anand, over the years and decades?
Yeah, good evening, Niranjan. No, absolutely it is. You know, the fact of the matter is that history that is written by the victors is peddled by the vanquished. For 70 years, we have been taught to forget historical injustices. We have been taught to eulogize genocidal mass murderers. There are hundreds of examples, but just two would suffice. Please give me a couple of minutes. Tipu Sultan and Aurangzeb. As for Tipu, one must read his own manifesto, written in his own words. It is a terrifying proclamation calling for all Muslims to come together to convert infidels and wage jihad. Whoever refuses to obey would be treated as an accursed infidel, unquote. Annihilation of the infidels was a sacred duty, he wrote admonishingly. The Hindus of Coorg suffered a particularly brutal onslaught by Tipu Sultan, and in their thousands. Murders, tortures, forced conversions, no one was spared. Even dead Hindus were converted, Niranjan, even dead Hindus. He destroyed 800 temples, 27 churches, captured 60,000 Christians, converted 30,000, killed thousands, and emptied Mangalore of them. 400,000 Malabar Hindus were converted to Islam by Tipu Sultan, who considered this as jihad. Descendants of Mandya Mahengars do not celebrate Diwali till this day. You know why? He butchered them on this day. And as for Aurangzeb, he was Baghdadi.
Atikur Rahman is raising his hand after you make your point.
The genocide he perpetrated claimed 4.6 million lives. He demolished thousands of temples, converted millions of Hindus. If a picture could speak a million words, Niranjan, it would be that of Gyan Vyapi Mosque in Varanasi, built atop the grand Kashi Vishwanath temple, demolished by Aurangzeb. If an incident could muster a million spine-chilling imaginings, it would be that of the one in 1675 under broad day in Chandni Chowk, where Seesganj is now, where Guru Tegh Bahadur was beheaded on the orders of Aurangzeb. But these are the men we celebrate in our textbooks. This is genocide porn. There is no difference between Tipu and Aurangzeb apologists and Holocaust.
Shahid Aslam and Atikur Rahman are extremely angry with the points that you are making.
I just want to quick...
Atikur Rahman is nodding his head. Atikur Rahman, you want to respond to Anand Ranganathan?
Heroes.
Factually, please. Okay, no.
Yeah, thank you, Anand.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's
Okay,
not a
let's keep the debate factual. Let's keep the debate factual, not controversial, okay? Yeah. Let's go by facts. It's a factual debate. Based on facts, like the RTI query said, that there is no proof. Fact.
This is a book written by D.N. Jha. As a matter of fact, Dr. Anand, D.N. Jha has completely come out with this book against the grain, wherein he has pinpointed that the Muslim rule was in particular, distorted by the British, because they wanted to establish their kingdom over the ashes of the Muslim rule and the Mughal rule. And there was no other straight way to tell the Hindus, the majority Hindu population of India, unless and until they demonized the Muslim rule, it was not possible for the British to have their clutches
Niranjan,
over the Indian mind.
Can I respond?
First. Secondly, Dr. Anand,
can I respond very quickly?
You. No, please, I haven't completed. Anand.
Yes, okay.
Anand, no, I haven't completed. Niranjan, please, 30 seconds. Thank you. Secondly, D.N. Jha pinpoints here in the Varna system. The Varna system created by the Brahmin ideology was the chief factor for not only the Muslim rule, the rulers, but all the foreign powers to have colonies in India. The colonization of India was chiefly because of the Brahmical attitude towards the Varna system. They never allowed the others to participate in the governance of the state. And the Brahmins, sorry to say...
Strong counters coming in. Strong counters coming in, Atik.
Niranjan, I need to come in here.
Yeah, Anand. Strong counters coming in. I see 4 people raising their hands. Okay, Anand, and then I'll get Professor Guptin. Anand, yeah, Anand.
Niranjan, yeah.
Yeah, okay, 30 seconds to Anand, yeah.
Yes, Niranjan, you see how quickly the goalposts have been shifted. The matter is of destruction of temples and rebuilding of them. I ask a simple question. If a Hindu king were to destroy and demolish, like Aurangzeb did, Kashi Vishwanath temple, the holiest of Hindu shrines, if a Hindu king were to demolish the holiest of Islamic shrines and then give a pittance, throw some pennies to rebuild some mosques, I want to ask Atikur Rahman, would he still call him a secular king, a holy king? Answer this question. Have you seen the crime that is Gyan Vyapi Mosque? With what face can you say that Aurangzeb did all right? Are you not ashamed?
Okay, hold on. Atik, I see 4 more people raising their hands.
You are as much Indian as I am.
Atik, I see 4 more people raising their hands. 4 more people are raising their hands. Atik, hold on to your response, because Professor Bharat Gupta has been raising his hand for quite some time now. I want to bring in Professor Bharat Gupta on the larger debate. The hashtag that you see says, don't distort history. Syed Aslam, okay, you can respond, but after Professor Gupta, because I have not asked my question. Is there a pattern of making tall claims, Professor Bharat Gupta? Is there a pattern of making such tall claims when the UPA, under Kapil Sibal-led HRD ministry, had furthered the communal narratives on the 2002 riots, on Babri Masjid in school curriculum, even after it was rejected by the NCERT, which called it venomous? You think there's a pattern, Professor Gupta? And then let Syed Aslam respond.
Okay,
Syed Aslam.
now, look.
First, Professor Bharat Gupta.
Yes, I think if you patiently hear me out, I am perhaps the eldest here. I am not going to talk about Kapil Sibal, etc., who went to college with me. I am going to talk about what we studied in 60s at St. Stephen's College and how a totally false history was taught to us, courtesy Jawaharlal Nehru and the later education minister. I was told that Mahmud Ghaznavi needed money, and that's why he destroyed the Somnath and various other temples, and he had to attack India 17 times. I was told that when the great temples, the 17 temples, what you find as Quwwat-ul-Islam Mosque in Delhi, anybody can go tomorrow and see it, was again done as a syncretic example of Hindu and Muslim architecture.
So let me respond to this now.
This whole spin, and what to talk of Mr. D.K. Jha. I have seen how D.K. Jha and R.S. Sharma were brought in after 1972 into Delhi University at the instant of Soviet Union through the Minister of Education at that time, and how he started teaching history and appointing people.
I've heard you peacefully now.
Please,
I've heard you very peacefully now. Let me respond to each one of the points which you have told.
Please let me
He's making a point. Syed Aslam, when someone makes sense, you want to interrupt him. Syed Aslam. Syed Aslam, please. No. Don't interrupt him. You don't like what he's saying because he's speaking facts. Calm down. I'll give you your turn.
I will say only last one thing. देखिए आप सुन लीजिए, अरे कान खोल कर सुन लीजिए मेरे से और हिस्ट्री पढ़िए.
बिल्कुल sir.
Now please read 10 volumes. Now please, yes, I am going to be factual. I am going to be factual, sir. Please. Now, no.
The history of India.
You are interrupting me because this is what you
allow him to make it. One last point. Surely you don't know more than the professor. Syed Aslam, you surely don't know more than the professor. Let him make his last point.
India believes.
Please shut up. Please, for God's sake, be quiet. Be an academic. Give me my time.
Syed Aslam, he's trying to make one last point. I don't understand.
आप सुनिए. I don't.
Syed Aslam, I want him to make his last point.
With a begetful thought.
Now let me make my point and please ask this gentleman.
Syed, I need you to just take a step back, my friend. Listen to what Professor. Please don't show disrespect. Don't show disrespect. He's trying to make his point. Syed Aslam, you're being very badly behaved. Let him make his point.
If you want to read history,
some respect to Professor Bharat Gupta. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, if you want to read history, read the translations which are available from Aligarh University in 10 volumes translated by the famous Aligarh scholar Adi Turk-Kalin Bharat, which is a translation from Tabqat-e-Nasiri right up to Alamgiri. And it is the historians of the times who have repeatedly said how many temples were destroyed, what was the jizya imposed, and how the burning of the crops was done. You can please read that history. That history is not taught.
Okay, Syed, what's your point now? Come on, just...
Sir, you have told enough.
Yeah, read history. I'm sure you don't know more than the professor. Syed?
No.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know the basics.
Yeah, so quickly respond then.
Historical fact.
Now, not even Jha, not even R.S. Sharma has read these books.
Fact. Now, when the Maratha army, Niranjan, when the Maratha army attacked the Sringeri Matha, the Sharda Pita of Sringeri Matha was attacked by the Maratha army. Swami Sachidananda.
Sanju Verma will respond to you.
Swami Sachidananda went.
Sanju Verma will respond to you.
They destroyed the entire Sharda Pita. The entire Sharda Pita in Sringeri Matha was destroyed by the Maratha army. It is the secular king Tipu Sultan who had sent the army to who had sent the army to Sringeri to throw away the Maratha army from there. It was Tipu Sultan who reconsecrated the entire temple. He gifted a silver palanquin to the Sringeri Mata. And let me also put it on records. Even today, in the Sringeri Mata and the Shata temple, Aarti in the name of Tipu Sultan is done even today. Let us not communalize the history of India. Let us believe in the Ganga Jamni Tehzeeb of India. Let us not try to look at history in the
who's communalizing?
thought. Let us look history as it is. I am telling you,
Yeah,
it is the,
Sanju's responding to you.
communalizing of history.
Can I
Today,
please?
India,
Sanju's responding to you.
India believes in Ganga Jamni Tehzeeb.
I heard
India
you,
is a
sir.
No,
Now
please.
let me have my word.
No, there is a
Let me have my
pattern. Side, I'll counter you with facts, but let Sanju Verma come in. I'll counter you with facts. Sanju Verma is coming in and then I'll counter you on facts. Let Sanju Verma come in. Side, I'll counter you with facts. Let Sanju Verma come in. Let her respond to you, I'll counter you with facts.
You know, Niranjan, there are two instances that I want to cite. I will of course start with the famous quote by Dan Brown, who says that history by its very nature is always a biased and one-sided account. And I think that has been the case for decades for a country like India, where Marxists and leftist historians have peddled a fake narrative. Look at the case of Tipu Sultan, which was mentioned by one of the panelists. I would like to point out here that in 2019, it was the Yediyurappa government which actually petitioned the court, the High Court in Karnataka, and said that we do not want to celebrate 10th November, which is the birth anniversary of Tipu Sultan, with a lot of pomp and show, because he is not somebody that we idolize or somebody that our subsequent generations need to glorify and idolize. And there were umpteen number of PILs that were filed. Thank God that the Karnataka High Court said we can persuade the government to restart the celebrations, but we will not overturn their judgment.
Just letting you know that angry response is coming in.
Marauder, he converted more than 40,000 Kodavas. The fact that he converted more than 60,000 Mandyam Iyengars, the fact that he ravaged and butchered more than 100,000 people, that is there for
Don't distort, not politicize. Don't distort history.
But you have people like the one shouting here that Tipu Sultan was an icon. Now let me tell you one more thing. Niranjan, you will remember there was this movie called Padmavati or Padmavat. I clearly remember everybody saying, why are we making such a hue and cry about Padmavati? Because she was a fictitious figure. Whereas these are the same people who never questioned the Kaaba in Mecca, but they have the audacity to question the existence of Padmavati, who existed in the 14th century. There is a Johar Kund in Chittor, where thousands along with Padmavati perform Johar.
Professor D.K. Giri is nodding his head.
This Johar never happened.
Professor D.K. Giri is nodding his head. He hasn't spoken yet.
The veracity of the Kaaba in Mecca. What do you say about the Kaaba in Mecca? Because if you doubt the veracity of the
No, let's not make this 1 second. No, listen, Sanju, let's stick to facts. Sanju, not required.
Tell you one more thing.
Sanju, one thing I said at the beginning is that let's talk about facts. Let's stick. Sanju, what happens? Sanju Verma, just pull back a minute. Sanju, pull back a minute. No, Sanju. No, I want to speak to all the panelists. At the start of this debate, I said this debate will tend to get a little controversial and communal. It's not required. I said we will talk about facts and we'll talk about history. D.K. Giri wanted to come in. I saw him nodding. Let's stick to the subject, right? D.K. Giri, you can come in, and then I'll get Dr. Indu Vishwanathan. Right. D.K. Giri was nodding his head, completely disagreeing with what Sanju was saying. Okay, D.K. Giri, you come in. D.K. Giri.
Yes, Niranjan.
D.K. Giri, there's a pattern to making such claims. I'll tell you, sir, there's a pattern to making such claims. I'll tell you, in June 2019, the Congress government, which has a history of making such claims, took charge in Rajasthan, rewrote history books to say that Maharana Pratap and Akbar never fought on religious lines the Haldi Ghati battle. There is a pattern, and that's why we're having this debate. D.K. Giri, and then Dr. Indu can respond.
Sure. I just want to tell Sanju Verma, he started by quoting Dan Brown, but I'll tell her a more authentic book by E.H. Carr called What is History, a small book I advise you to read it and you will know how history is written. But anyway, the motion of the debate today is whether the NCERT has evidence about Aurangzeb rebuilding the temples. That is the debate. Anand started by making a speech on Tipu Sultan. That is not the point. I just want to stick to the motion today, which is whether NCERT has the evidence. NCERT is an autonomous body. They have a process of writing their history. They commissioned authors. So the Gauri Srivastava to say that we don't have evidence, he is not the author of that book. They should contact the original author and ask him for the source if they have not done it. If he denies it, if he cannot provide the source, this is fictitious and it is not supported by research. That is all the point. So instead of that, we are going on Tipu Sultan, we are going on other kings. Are we having a debate on history and the facticity of the history? That is beyond this the scope of the about 40 minutes debate here. But on the basic question, whether NCERT has the evidence, NCERT should refer to the author who has written that particular book. And nobody can influence NCERT. It is an autonomous body, and if it manages to get influenced by the rulers that be, it is their problem. But NCERT has been objective so far, and their books are very well read and well respected. They are credible source of knowledge for school kids. So if this RT has been read, it is not Gauri Srivastava who should answer it. It is the author of that particular chapter or the book, he should answer it. That is a methodological point I am raising. Thank you.
Dr. Indu is responding to you.
Thank you for having me on.
Dr. Indu.
Yes, thank you for having me on. I just want to make 3 points. One is that public institutions like education and any vendors that they use are accountable to the people they serve, not the other way around. So that's what I found to be so brilliant about this RT application. This doesn't mean we don't respect our teachers or we don't respect our scholars, but we have a right to be in conversation with them and ask them. The second is that curriculum changes. My children are not getting the same content or analytical approaches that I did. If it hasn't changed, that's a red flag. That's because education is a reflexive discipline and our understanding of history is constantly changing. That's why in the United States, we see statues of Christopher Columbus coming down, and we're wondering why similar decolonial efforts and conversations in India are resisted by some in India, and they're called oppressive, the same exact conversation. And the answer is education. The debates and silences about the current destruction of Hindu temples in Andhra Pradesh, for example, reflects the miseducation about the history of Hindu temple destruction in the past. And the third is academic dissent. This is how discoveries are made in every discipline, how ideas expand, how facts are checked, and how self-awareness grows among scholars and in society. And facts are not just one book. If you have a fact that you say is supported by one book, well, if 10 other books are saying something else, then that's the conversation we need to have. And this is a particular issue in Indology. The basic academic principle of dissent is squashed by scholars in the US and in India by some people who hold a lot of power, and they cast any kind of dissent, ironically, as fundamentalism. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Yeah, and Chetan Singh hasn't come in, but I saw him nodding his head at some point on the fire. Okay, Anand, I'm going to let Chetan make a point, Anand, and then you can come in. I just want Chetan to make a point because I have a question to him. Because I believe that there is a pattern to the distortion of history, especially by the opposition over the years and decades, right? Now there's a pattern. I'll tell you in 2017, Chetan, and you can come in on this. In 2017, Congress's Sanjay Dutt in the Maharashtra Assembly said the defamatory reference to former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, while mentioning the emergency, and Rajiv Gandhi about Bofors in the state school board's history and political science textbook for class 9 should be removed. Now the Congress went on record in 2017 on the floor of the House to call Indira Gandhi an emergency mention as defamatory, Rajiv Gandhi and Bofors as defamatory. They wanted it removed from the history and political science textbooks. Now there are hundreds and thousands of instances of how the opposition now has tried to distort history while in power. Chetan, you have any doubts about that?
So No, absolutely. I do not have any doubt. Why I do not have any doubt? You look at what has happened in 1947. What kind of literacy rate we had at this given point of time, and what is now. Who has built those institutions, the institution which you are naming right now? So therefore, I don't want to get into it. We all know what kind of contribution, specifically in education, this particular grand old party has made. Now, the points which I like to make. First, Anand Saab, what he has mentioned, I'm surprised. When Sanju Verma, when she talks about movies, Padmavati and all that stuff, I think I understand because this is the place where she gets the knowledge from. But when it comes down to Professor Anand, I am rather surprised that how come he is not aware about Tipu Sultan, one of the most secular leader and one of the best administrator this India has ever got. And on the top of it, whenever he used to pass by any temple, what he used to do...
Okay, get ready for a classic Anand Ranganathan lesson, okay? Okay, Anand.
Look.
Anand, shoot!
All right. And second, if you want to talk about Hindu,
this is
Dr. Anand, just give me 10 more seconds.
Chetan, please now have this quiet. Please allow me.
Dr. Anand, just give me 10 more seconds. Professor Hindu, you are in US. You let me understand what the neo-Nazi brigade of the right-wing people has said and done in US. I think they have also created history. That was a trailer for all the democracies in the world because the way the
neo-Nazi brigade of the right wing in the US. Okay, now it's back to Modi now. Modi comparison. Capitol Hill, Modi. Okay. They're seeing Modi in that too. Anand.
I do not want to do any kind of comparison. I'm just saying what is happening is a matter of a serious concern. And
Chetan.
And democracy
you just did.
Chetan, you are a good friend.
Anyway, Anand, when he peddles a false narrative, that's a matter of serious concern. And also, Professor Anand, I can send across some notes to you, some books to you. If you'll read those books, then you will get to know about it.
Because now you just carrying on. You said 10 seconds, you've taken...
Okay, please exchange notes. You have 1 minute between each other. Yeah, exchange notes. You have 1 minute between each other. Anand.
Yes, Chetan, you are... Yes, Chetan, you are a good friend and you are a good lawyer. You're not a kind of lawyer who says appeal ko apple. I have quoted facts. I have quoted from the manifesto written by the one and only Tipu Sultan, his own words. I have quoted to you his own words, my friend. Whoever refuses to obey would be treated as an accursed infidel. The annihilation of infidels is a sacred duty. Quote unquote Tipu Sultan. Can you dispute even one of the 10 facts I have given? Can you dispute that Tipu
angry responses, Anand.
27 churches?
Okay, I just want to show you the screen because angry responses coming from Atik and Sail Aslam.
And as far as somebody... No, Niranjan, 1 second.
4 responses.
Somebody quoted D.N. Jha.
4 versus 1 now. 4 versus 1.
If D.N. Jha is a historian, then I am James Bond. D.N. Jha is the same guy who said that Nalanda was burned down by Brahmins. Couple of Brahmins and not Bakhtiyar Khilji.
Sir,
that is D.N. Jha's contribution to history. Outright lies.
Niranjan,
ये कहाँ से पढ़ते हो यार? कुछ तो पढ़ लिया करो.
I don't know where is he
Atik,
getting
Chetan and Aslam versus Anand and Sanju Verma.
Niranjan, let me show you some facts on Tipu Sultan. Let me show some facts. Anandji, just listen to this. Let's just listen to this very peacefully.
Yeah, Sanju is listening to you. Sanju will respond to you. Sanju will respond to you. Okay.
Let me give you some factual information.
Syed 30 seconds and then Sanju.
Let me give you some factual information.
Syed 30 seconds and then Sanju.
Niranjan, just one moment.
What can be more factual than Tipu's own words? What can be more factual than Tipu's own words?
I will show you 9 letters.
My good friend, what can be more factual than Tipu Sultan's own words? You answer this question. Are you disputing Tipu's own words?
It is available in Gazette.
If you are doing that,
then
I'm afraid this debate is going nowhere.
There is a grant.
Are you disputing Tipu's own words?
There is a letter which clearly states that the Sharda...
You need to understand that I have quoted Tipu Sultan, not any historian.
Sir, why not?
This is the reason why people do not trust you.
The problem
is the reason.
You don't have the
this is the reason why you get brickbats. Because your heroes are mass murderers. Your heroes are murderers who murdered Hindus. This is why people have doubts about you. Your integrity.
When you wear the glasses,
this is the reason.
Sanju Verma wants to come in. Sanju Verma. Professor Gupta, I'll give you a turn, sir. Sanju Verma wants to come in, sir.
अब आप टीपू को believe नहीं करेंगे.
Sanju Verma wanted to make a point and then I'll get you in, sir. Yeah.
Is a good state.
You are not going to believe Tipu Sultan. Your hero.
Can I make a point?
At least
Syed Aslam and Sanju Verma.
I need to come in. This is
Syed Aslam and Sanju Verma. Sanju Verma can respond. 30 seconds, Sanju. 30 seconds. I'll have to get another panelist as well.
India. He is the innovator of rocket technology in India.
Syed, 30 seconds, okay, Syed, I'm running out of time, my friend. You got to give time. Everyone, listen. I need to let the other panelists speak.
I want to say one
thing. You can see a temple in front of every fort.
Syed, I gave you your turn.
The reason I gave the Padmavati example was to showcase.
Syed, this is really not done. Syed, this is not done.
Famous British historian
Not done, Syed.
James Todd, who has written a book called The Annals of Rajasthan, where he has written that Padmavati, actually Rani Padmavati existed in reality. There's a book by James Todd. There's the work of Yogeshwar Bandyopadhyay in 1884. You don't have a problem believing Amir Khusro. You don't have a problem believing Ziauddin Barani. But you have a problem believing the authenticity of Padmavati. And as for the personal comment made by Chetan Singh,
Okay,
because
I'm running out of time, I want to give. I want to bring back Professor Bharat Gupta. Professor Bharat Gupta.
Who is a paid panelist on
Yeah,
debate.
sir. Okay, Sanju. I have to bring in Professor Bharat Gupta. Professor Bharat Gupta once again. Professor Bharat Gupta.
Yeah, please. Now, please assure
Professor
me
Bharat
that
Gupta. My question is simple, sir. Can either side? Yeah.
Please assure me that there will be no interruption. Now, there are 2 points I want.
Now, I was going to ask you, is it true or is it not true that...
Yes. What is it true? What is the question,
Okay, go ahead.
Please?
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Now,
Okay, go ahead. No, you go ahead. You go ahead. I'll ask my question. You go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Two things very clear. Look, every Muslim ruler had some Hindu generals, etc., who was a chamcha or an ally. And very often some things were given, including grants for a temple, etc. But please try to put things in perspective. If you gave a little bit of money to one ally, a Hindu ally, and he made a temple, and on the other hand, you destroyed 100 temples, or if you made slaves of hundreds and thousands of Hindu men, women, and children and sold them out in Central Asia, that does not put the true picture of history. Point number 1, सोच लीजिए इसके ऊपर. Point number 2, I am so ashamed to see so-called historians like D.N. Jha here, etc., come up and write all kinds of distorted things. You don't have to read.
No, he's not here, sir. Somebody quoted him.
Please,
he's not here,
please.
sir. Sir, he's not here. He's not here. That was Professor D.K. Giri. Not Jha.
मेरी बात सुनिए. Please read the history written by the medieval historians themselves. It is available in 7 volumes by Eliot and Dawson. It is available in 10 volumes in Hindi by Atahar Abbas Rizvi, a great scholar of Aligarh Muslim University who taught in Canberra. All those histories mention what I am saying. आप पढ़ लीजिए, 10 वॉल्यूम हिंदी में हैं और उसके बाद कहीं इसी सभा में बैठकर उस पर डिबेट कीजिए. All this is factual. All this destruction and plunder of India in the medieval times is factual, recorded by their own historians, right from the time of 11th century till the end of Ahmad Shah Abdali.
What do you expect from the invaders? All invaders loot and exploit their victims. So this is not new, but we are debating a limited point.
What do you mean? What do you mean? We are not debating. We are debating the plunder of India. We are talking in the context of plunder of India by
British plundered India, Mughal plundered India. Yes, all colonialists and invaders plundered. We are not debating that. What is the new thing you are saying? British plundered India, Mughals plundered India. Fair enough, but we are debating the writing of history. We are not discussing on colonialism or invasion or plundering
Sanju
of
Verma,
victims.
last word.
You are
Okay.
shifting the
in
debate.
NCERT books that Mughals plundered India. आपने लिखा है NCERT की किताब में कि मुगलों ने प्लंडर किया?
No, it is not. We are debating about Aurangzeb building the temples. About that.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Why don't you write?
Confession on the debate,
Why don't you write that
We are discussing a limited
Facts,
point
but not
today.
written.
NCERT
Facts,
books.
but not published.
Hidden.
Yeah, NCERT
Because
books. What
May
is
I
the source?
please-
How
may I
did Boris
please-
Srivastava give that answer?
May I please?
This is my question.
May I please?
Yes, Sanju Verma, last word. I have to end the debate. I have to end the debate. Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
Original author of the book.
You know, Niranjan, I just want to say one thing which
Last word,
showcases
okay.
how history can be falsified. There's a chronicle of Aurangzeb's one-year rule in 1679 where Aurangzeb has admitted that he demolished and ravaged 132 temples. And then you have a historian like Richard Eaton, who teaches history apparently at the University of Arizona and who's done seminal work of desecration of Hindu temples under Mughal rule. And you know what he says? Only 80 Hindu temples were ever demolished under the Mughal rule. Whereas in the inscriptions on Qutub Minar itself, it is said that Qutub Minar alone stands on the devastation of 27 Hindu temples and Jain temples. So if you have people like Richard Eaton, people like Ramachandra Guha, people like Romila Thapar, and you have the 10 Janapa doormats like Chetan Singh, false narrative goes as history, unfortunately. But we are here to pull the plug. From historians
No. Chetan. Chetan, he's just come in once on this debate. Okay, Chetan, you want to respond, my friend? Okay, I'll give you the last word, Chetan. Chetan, last word. And okay, I have to move on to the next debate. Chetan.
I mean, she has no rights to make these personal comments. Why?
Yes, I understood. Yeah, I saw that you were offended. That's why I'm giving you your turn to respond.
You must stop her. You must stop her. See, we
that
are
is why
talking about a
historians
very
turn
sensitive
into
subject.
historians because you have politicians like Rahul Gandhi.
We should not let the subject get communal. On the top of it, whatever history has taught us.
Okay, speaking about historians. Okay, you know what, Sanju, because you said that. Hold on. I want to make one last point and I'll end the debate. Because Sanju Verma, you said that, I have 4 instances that I've just pulled out. Hear me out. 4 instances I've just pulled out. 4 instances I've just pulled out. No, to everyone on the panel. To everyone on the panel. No, not required. That kind of language is not required. Sanju Verma, hear me out. I'll make 4 points and I'll end the debate. Small points, okay? Is it true or not? Sanju Verma, is it true or not that on August 2017, Maharashtra government completely removed the chapter on Mughals from the Maharashtra State Board history books? Who was the government back then? Is it not the BJP's Rajasthan state government that altered historical facts to show that Maharana Pratap defeated Mughal Emperor Akbar in the Battle of Haldighati despite the opposite being the case? 2 more points to you. Sanju. Hear me out. No. See, history is a convenient thing. Hold on. When BJP government in Rajasthan in May 2016 erased references to Jawaharlal Nehru from its history books and has zilch mentions on who the first Prime Minister of India was, were you not trying to maneuver and strategically omit facts historically? Sanju, last point to you because I wanted to ask you this question. In June 2017, Rajasthan textbooks defined the Congress as a nurtured baby of the British Empire. So hasn't BJP also politicized textbooks? So I think the questions have to go to both sides, Sanju, but more to the decades of distortion. Thank you, Sanju Verma, Anand Ranganathan, Professor Bharat Gupta, Indu Vishwanathan, Professor D.K. Giri, Atikur Rahman, Syed Aslam, Chetan Singh. The debate is trending.